and radio.
We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Peace be upon the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We begin in the name of Allah, the Lord of the worlds and the Lord of the people. May his peace and blessings be upon Muhammad, his last messenger. You are with us on I95.5 FM listening to Panchayat, a different kind of talk. When the phone line opens, you can reach us at 622-3937, 622 eyes. We always remind you, it's the shortest hour in talk radio. Today we mightn't have that much talk because we have some people here ready to do their thing. You know, we have a kind of poetry something this morning. But before they go into their poetry, you know, I want to go into some stuff here. The Red Steel won its first match by 3 runs. The captain reminds us that the Red Steel is not the Red Force. So, I put up a red flag. I took out my red pen and I'm looking for a red alert because I think that's a red herring. Some of the batsmen, like they have red eye, like they tied up in red tape, stopping at every red light waiting for the red cross. The team is in the red. So we need some red-blooded performers to come out and cross the red line. The Red Army in the Oval is starting to see red because they roll out a red carpet. So Red Steel better get red hot tonight. We want the time of the final to be a red letter D. We ready. We ready. So this morning, I have these poets. Tom, we're laughing at. Tom, we're laughing.
See, you didn't say that we have 5 poets.
Okay, so we have some brothers with us. As you all know our brother Mtima Solwazi, and we have Eddy David, who, well, they most of them are Canada. Eddy da Original One, David. We have Dwayne Morgan, you have a nickname? All right. And Anthony, Nth Digri Bansfield, who was with us before. So they are here in connection with a program put on by our brother Mtima Solwazi. Mtima, you know, well, we can say good morning to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the people of the world, because a lot of people here, all in Russia, they'll be here in Panchayat. So let's start introducing yourselves around. Mtima, you will be last, and then you will tell us what the program is all about.
Good morning Trinidad and Tobago, good morning beyond Trinidad and Tobago, good morning to the whole world. It's Anthony, Nth Digri Bansfield here, traveling as part of the vocal artists, Canadian artists across Latitude. That's where we are coming down to this festival. So that's my good mornings.
Blessings. I'm Eddy da Original One. I actually grew up here in Trinidad, so I have tons of family. Big up to all the Allens all over Tobago, and all the Davids and Charles Davids and them down in Sapari and things. So yeah, I'm back home. Hey.
Hi, good morning to everybody who's out there listening, tuning in. My name is Dwayne Morgan, and I think I'm the only one in the crew that doesn't have Trini roots. So you know, I'm here, you know, representing Toronto, representing Jamaica. So yeah, definitely very blessed to be here.
Alright, and well, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago again. I am Mtima Solwazi, and we are having a festival. It's called Cascadoo, New Caribbean New Voices International Festival of Spoken Word, and it's featuring vocal voices of Canadian artists across Latitudes. Now, this festival is a brainchild of Anthony Bansfield and myself. We have been working on this for the past year, and we are proud to have this really 5 artists. One is coming in the morning, please God, that is Motion. And we have V.O.C.A.L. Big up to V.O.C.A.L in Tobago. Right? V.O.C.A.L is here. So the workshops will be held at Nales from Monday to Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And Monday afternoon, because you all need to take these days, Monday afternoon, we have the launch of Cascadoo in front of Nales on Abercrombie Street there, on the arcade. That's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Then Thursday, we are going to Woodford Square for something called Guerrilla Poetry. It's an open mic from 3 to 5. And Thursday night, we're at Pandemonium Pan Tent, you know, for Word in the Yard, that's in Belmont. And we close off with a wonderful showcase, a concert, under the trees in Normandy, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So Pandemonium is 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday, we're going to Normandy. And before we move on, Brother Kwesi, if I could just like to really thank some of our main sponsors like Normandy Hotel, our platinum sponsor, and another platinum sponsor is Nales, who have always been supporting us, whatever we do. And other sponsors would include the Porcelain Corporation, Pandemonium, and also the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism.
Okay.
So,
Support the people that support us.
Right.
And, well, the Canadian Arts Council as a,
yeah, the Canada Council for the Arts.
Canada Arts Council for the Arts.
Okay.
For the arts.
Well, I train in the trick question here now. All these things are free?
Except for the normally under the trees.
Okay.
Right, but all the other events.
What's the cost for
normally?
Yeah.
Only $50.
Only $50.
So you can bring out your whole entire family.
Okay. All right. So let's get on to because you know we have a very perceptive audience and of course you know the Nth Digri knows that he was here before. So all right. So how are we going to do this thing? Who want to take off first? They hear Nth Digri already. They hear you already. So maybe we could start with people who Trinidad and Tobago haven't heard before.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, that works.
All right. So. And you know how Trinity roots, so
exactly.
We'll start with you then.
All right, no problem.
Okay.
I turned on my TV the other night and I heard this woman singing, and the words of her song really got me thinking, what if God was really one of us? What if God was that man that we see on the bus listening to us cuss and fuss and discuss the man that we don't know but we still choose to make fun of? What if he was there as a test to see how we treat those who God has blessed with life? What if God is the one trying to teach us wrong from right, leading us to the darkness, hoping we'll turn back to the light? What if God was that man that we see on the street asking for spare change or something to eat as we walk by, pretending not to see? What if he was checking how charitable we would be when we come across those who are truly in need? What if God was that woman we see and we curse for not knowing her true value or her true worth, standing on the street corner, clenching her purse, seeing if we'll offer kind words or if we'll treat her like dirt? It is said that God will return as a thief in the night, with no pronounced arrival for those who want to worship or hide, which is why we need to live each day as though God are right here. After all, we are all made in the image of the Creator, and though we should not worship mortal man, acknowledge the presence of the Savior in every woman, man, and child. We need to love one another, never knowing when we will be on trial. What would you say if you came face to face with God, not knowing until it was too late? Did you smile when you walked by, or did you cut your eye? You see, we are to be living as sisters and brothers, treating our elders as fathers and mothers, doing unto others as we would have done unto us. You see, many believe that God will return for the chosen, but what if God is already riding the bus?
All right, that's Dwayne Morgan. That's Brother Dwayne Morgan. So, all right, so let's move to the man with the big Trini roots. All the people down in Sipari.
Okay.
So bad.
Alright, this one.
And
You ever see the trees them dancing? You ever see the trees them dance? It's a marvelous thing. It's a marvelous thing when the trees them dancing. When the wind whistling, them trees just be moving to the rhythm. Back and forth, they just be swinging. And if you're next to the ocean, watch how the coconut trees and them behaving. They follow fashion like West Indian. You only jumping up and waving. Papa, yo, you never see the trees them dancing? You never see the trees them dancing? It's a marvelous thing. It's a marvelous thing when the trees them dancing. We children used to be waiting to see the trees them dancing. Because when the trees dancing, rain does be coming. And we want to go outside and play football in the mud, and we want him bareback with no shirt and lightning cracking in the sky like fireworks. Then you hear pata-pa-pam, pata-pa-pam. The thunder does roll like tambu bamboo or drum and song. But all you know, them thing is fun. Papa, yo, you never see the trees them dancing? You never see the trees them dancing? It's a marvelous thing, it's a marvelous thing. The sky just set up itself and everybody fetting. Real jam session. The rain does hit the chorus, does hit the galvanized in a chorus like it's singing. And if you watch real carefully, the branches will be rubbing against each other like a quattro they play. Or maybe it's a stick fight they fighting. It look like fight, but it's a dancing, a native rain dance. They say when ground get hot, rain must fall, and the trees just dance for rain, and all doesn't notice at all. And no, they don't want to bother with me and my old talk. It's just that if you ever get a chance to see the trees them dance, watch good. It's a marvelous thing, it's a marvelous thing. And life just seems so much more worth living when the trees them dancing.
Alright, that's Eddy, the original one. So, Nth Digri.
Breathe deep. Bring forth the word from the depth of the intellect. Name the world and draw breath. And breathe the rhythms that interweave and seed with the force of vitality. Word is the seed. Sown in the songs of the griot who hails the deeds eternal. Breathe deep and inhale. And bring forth the sound to the sign inscribed. And breathe out the sign pronounced in your mind. The word, the seed, the breeze in your chords, strums a note in your throat, corresponds to your thoughts, and breathe yourself a drum to the rhythm oxygenic flex of the lungs. As word is to seed, breath is to the wind, sound to the sign, let the dance begin. And name every last member of the tribe, sign the memories immortal in the song of the scribe. By the vertical gateway of a tree trunk rise and fall, breath, chest, the sides. The pattern of voices of drums multiplied, each in its own time, but fully synchronized, span ages. Song is the soil and the seed of the word takes root as the name is decreed. Breathe deep. The invocation, the phrase lip-shaping, soul intonation, cross-nation as a chorus calls, innermost core resonates. Its percussion detonates the broken cola, notes of the kora. Celebrate life like a soul makosa. Breathe deep. Breathe deep.
Alright, in Mtima, you're going or you're just keeping the Canadian section?
Yeah. What I can say again for those who know Trinity, you have just heard vocal voices of Canadian artists across the latitudes. And they are here for Cascadoo. 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 Cascadoo.
What is the concept of vocal voices of Canadian artists across latitudes? Anybody want to share that?
Well, we had been in touch, Mtima and myself and a few others in Canada for some time. And we were building in parallel as we were doing our poetry, spoken word poetry movement in Canada. Mtima was working with others here and they were building. And so we were in touch. So we always had the intention to make those connections because, with our heritage and our cultural roots of a lot of us who grew up in Canada, maybe born there, maybe came there from a small, but we have a Caribbean, heritage. So it was logical for us to connect then with artists doing similar work in the Caribbean. So that was really part of it. As we're moving across latitudes, is also how our blood moves and how our cultural lines of connection.
All right, so it's a way of keeping the connection with the Caribbean and the brothers and sisters in the Caribbean.
Yeah, because V.O.C.A.L was also born in Trinidad and Tobago. And Motion, her parents, Barbadian and Antiguan.
Okay. Yeah.
So we have that strong Caribbean connection.
All right. Everybody here function in Toronto or are people outside of Toronto?
Both of us right now, we're from Toronto. Like, I used to live in Ottawa. He's from Ottawa.
Yeah. Okay, so, all right. But basically, they seem to be Ontario. They're not outside of Ontario at all?
Yeah, for this particular group of people right now, it's just Ontario.
All right, so let's keep the place warm. We could go back again to our brother Dwayne Morgan and see what he has for us.
All right. As men, many of us tend not to see women as complete human beings, so instead we break them down into parts, using Barbie doll images to determine who and what women really are. We've gone so far that we've made some women hate themselves. Dark skin still isn't right. There are products on store shelves to make dark skin light, for the closer it gets the white, the greater the chance that she might get a blind. Instead of fixating on her skin color, she can worry about her cup size. Because as men, we have some women staring at their chests, not satisfied with the size of their breasts, taking matters into their own hands, resorting to surgical implants, watching as their cup size grows. Young children are being born fed on hormones laced with silicone, as our misogyny condoned us being anti-women because we don't love women. We just love some parts of women, but the sum of her parts is her beauty, as men continue to compartmentalize her into thick thighs and booty, because you know it's our duty to find the woman with the nicest, and to compensate for those who don't have stores and are selling underwear with pads, while those with too much are taking fat from the back and are putting it in their lips, and we wonder why some women speak so much, doing just about anything to be shaped like an hourglass. Skinny girls have eating disorders, thinking that they're fat, while big girls are on diets trying to look like that. And it would appear to me as though women have gone mad, trying to live up to these standards as we as men set but could never pass. So she tries to pass by introducing him to her soul, but his sole thought is that her soul is just a hole, so he loves her for her hole, and he thinks she's just a hole. He forgets about her soul and judges her by her whole. But men, we've got to love her as a whole. We've got to love her wholeheartedly, holistically. We have got to love she who holds the mystery to carry we to life. We've got to love her not by our standard, but by God's standard of perfection. She is deserving of love, respect, and affection as is. The gods made no mistakes when they created their kids. We have to recognize that every woman is a star who needs to be loved for who she is and for the sum of all her parts.
Okay, way to go.
Yeah.
I had to wrap down. I had to wrap down. You know, because I mean, we could go a whole lot into that woman thing, but all right, so
That was Dwayne Morgan.
Yes, that was Dwayne Morgan. So let's go back to the original one.
Actually, this poem's kind of long, so I'm only gonna do like just a sample of it.
No problem.
All right, this basically, not only am I a poet, I'm also a beatboxer. There's tons of people that went to school with me back in Palo Seco back in the day. Remember me walking around and see, y'all was making fun of me back then, but I'm back now, you see. I get paid to do this now. Just letting you know. I'm a professional.
No call no names, eh?
This one is just a sample of a piece called Mama Wouldn't Buy Me a Drum Machine. Beautiful, isn't it? It touched me. Don't it touch you? For 2 weeks straight, I'd ask my mama for a drum machine, and she'd be like, "I'm sorry, baby, we just can't afford it right now." And to the ears of my young self, all I heard her saying was, "No." Then I went to school this one day, and this white kid friend of mine told me that if you throw a tantrum, parents have to give you what you want. But unbeknownst to my young black self, black parents don't respond very well to tantrums. They consider it a threat to their authority. So let's just say a wooden spoon and my behind got introduced to each other. And I cried. I cried a long cry. I cried so much that I ran out of tears, and my mama looking up into the heavens just saying, "Lord, just give me strength." And to the eyes of my young self, it seemed like the Lord was looking up in the ceiling, but I got sent down to the basement. But down there is where I found it. It was one of my dad's old 8-track tapes, and it was blue. And I guess that's why I was attracted to it, because that's how I was feeling. Some of y'all are looking perplexed like you don't know what 8-tracks are. 8-tracks is like a 70s prototype to today's in-car CD multi-changer. They're supposed to be around forever, but then an asteroid hit the earth and then they all disappeared. Or was that the dinosaurs? Anyways, well, I took it and I put it inside my dad's old stereo system, and that's when I heard it. And I would just play that tape over and over again, just listen to all the pops and the clicks. Mama finally got tired of me playing that tape, pulled me out from the basement and sent me up to my room. But up there I would hear those sounds going around in my head. First I would hear the horns. And before I knew it, I was hearing the sounds of the drums, not just in my head anymore. It seemed like the sounds were coming out of me, like a cipher engaging everybody just to come out and play.
We have no instruments in here, people. We have no instruments in here except the tongue. you want to give me a little bit of that again?
Yeah. Check what the man can do. Come down to Cascadoo, count down to Cascadoo. Sweet truth on the inside, spoken word hard. From Woodward Square to Pandemonium Panyard. Andrea Bananas, when knowledge is strong. Break through the surface on that 12th and down. It's going down. Cascadoo, see what the man can do. With the combined verbal dexterity and linguistic virtuosity, I think poetic intensity. That's me, the Nth Digri, or Manchilde, direct from Philly, with the audacity of Dwayne Morgan in motion, no degree ontology, a curious Ringo, original one of Solwazi. It all comes from him, under the trees, acting on the dick. What you gonna do? Come on, back to Cascadoo. It all comes back to Cascadoo. What you gonna do? Cascadoo celebrates the energy of Caribbean spoken word poetry. Slam from north to south, vocal for the 21st century. That's right. Yeah. The music of the word, get down to the roots. Its content be poetic vibes in this journey for the truth. Yeah, because we dialogue in a Panchayat, forward with this collaboration, youth voice emerge in that creative expression. So what you gonna do? Bring it back to Cascadoo. Bring it back to Cascadoo. Cause it all comes back to Cascadoo. Baby, what you gonna do?
Bring it.
Okay, now that was a piece of extempo. If you didn't know, I just want you people to know that's extempo. So lingo, look out. Black Sage, look out. Gypsy, look out. That's extempo. Alright,
the
so
DJs need to look out.
yeah, everybody had to look out.
I was just about to call Danny the girl that is.
Alright, so Mtima, you want to join in or you still in
Me?
Canada? Then Canada take the front.
Embarrass myself?
Okay.
All I want to say is that this is Cascadoo, Caribbean Voices, featuring V.O.C.A.L, voices of Canadian artists across latitudes. We own at Nallis, Monday to Wednesday. So that's tomorrow, please, for the 12th to the 14th. Monday to Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We have some workshops, and these workshops will be facilitated by the team of V.O.C.A.L, right, and Nth Digri, Eddy da Original One, Dwayne Morgan, Manchilde, Motion. We also have, as facilitators, some local. We have Chris Ringo, we have Freetown Collective, we have Joan Gail Johnson, we have Rachel Colima, and we have myself, Mtima Solwazi. And we are on the arcade in Nallis, out on Abercrombie Street.
Right in front of Nallis.
Yeah,
Just in front of Nallis.
yeah, from 2 to 5.
Alright.
That's happening from Monday to Wednesday. And as you know, Thursday, Woodford Square, 3 to 5, Guerrilla Poetry.
Where's Guerrilla Poetry?
Guerrilla Poetry is an opportunity to come out and well, basically
Freestyle kind of
like how we should do it before the chant, and you know, you come out and you say what's on your mind, you say what, you know, and so
those are people in Trinidad say what on their mind at this point in time, Mtima. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful like that. You know, police lock up people.
Right? Well, it's that opportunity to get it off your chest.
Yeah, okay.
I have something to say, no?
Okay.
And then we go into Pandemonium Panyard,
Yeah.
7 to 10 Thursday night. So it's wood in the yard. And then, under the trees, voices under the trees, at Normandy.
All right.
Right? Friday night.
Friday night.
7 to 10.
Well, the thing is too, you know, Manchilde and Motion are here, but they're both recording artists. They're rappers. They're spoken word poets. They're musicians. They have a number of records out. So when we do that show, it's also a musical presentation too. When they come, you know, they come with their tracks and so on. So now people should expect a full mix and range of what we do, which is spoken word poetry, but also in a musical context.
All right. Well, you know, one of the things that is important and it has come out here, you know, is the art reaching the people with a message. You know, because sometimes we find that some people is word for word's sake, they just talk. You know, I have no real value. You know, no substance in it. You know, I could call some of them, but I ain't going to say that. But, you know, so but the artists always you know, should look at what am I saying to the people, what am I delivering to the people, and how will that help them to move forward, because, you know, basically that's what we're all about, and that's what we have this morning, and you know, we expect that is what we will have, you know, over time, because, you know, if we go back and remember some of the artists that we have had within the, you know, the Jamaican entities, the Bob Marleys, if we come back to Trinidad and think of some of the Calypsonians like Stalin and all that, you know, people who have a message, you know, who have a headspace and say, look, you know, we want the people to understand some things and they break it down and put it across, you know, and so you really have to keep that sense and that connect, you know. So, Tom, we going to any break or we running straight?
Okay, we can go straight.
All right, nice. All right, but before we go, let's just take one or two words from the audience before we get back into something.
Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Tom and Kwesi was I am a baker, and I did my work in the kitchen here. And I tell them, I can't help myself. I talk about raw salad, like the vibe just hit me back. I born 69, like in 60s, 70s, boy, and so that's a raw talent. I'm not no to say looking for money, the money will be there, but it just feel that vibe. No poetry that I'm talking about. I tell them, they're raw, they're good. If I had money, understand? I bring them every month.
Right, thanks very much, man.
Honestly,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, good morning. Oops.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Brother Kwesi.
Good morning. How are you, man?
Morning to the guests in the studio.
Yeah.
Good morning.
They remind me of Bobby McFerrin. You don't really hear about him much so again, you know. And he used to do the same thing that they are doing. If you go on YouTube and if you know Bobby McFerrin, he was famous for doing what these guys doing in the studio there right now. You know. And he even know this person is and also, you know.
All right.
Yeah, doing that same kind of bebop and poetry in one kind of thing. Yeah, famous for that. So they're good to see that they're trying to bring it back, because they're trying to push out all these old things and bring out that techno, everything.
Artificial voice. All right, man, thanks.
Caller, good morning.
Yes, good morning, peace and blessings. So,
Good morning. How are you?
all right. Excellent. You know, they say wise men, I try to remember this quote I heard, wise men speak because they have something to say, fools talk because they want to say something. Now, something jumped out at me there when you were doing, when one of the artists were doing something about the woman.
Yeah.
And then they said, we like parts of the woman, not the woman.
Yes, true.
I found that to be rather interesting.
Yeah.
How do you now marry that with, I want to hear contrasting, especially to African women, you know, where they spend all these monies and they hear and they take. Is it that they want the men to just admire that part of them and they leave that? Could we marry something into that sort of expression, right? And I'm saying that, you know, the artist is so important. If you look at all the great orators, you know, Luther, Malcolm, all of them, they spoke in a kind of a rhyme. Even you hear it coming out from Obama and so on, but that's what a rhyme and a rhythm. Those your pieces inspire behavioral change, You know, is it that deep? You know, I'm just getting part of what you present, but do you have that level of consciousness that could bring about that change? And by the way, there's a group I heard, I think it's an Adventist group. They were doing something on sex and the HIV thing. I thought these young people are crafty. I hope they hear this program and they come along to your gorilla thing. They have some really nice pieces. And again, you know, I respect the word and, you know, to be able to use it to shape emotions and behavior, that whole art, that whole ability, right? So how do we get it now to bring that consciousness that we seem to be losing as a people and all this other thing?
All right, man. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, just to address some of the points that were brought up, I think, you know, for myself as an artist, I try to lead by example. I try to live by the things that I say. Everyone in my life to this point who has had, you know, any kind of real significance has been a woman. So it's given me, being surrounded by women my entire life has given me a certain perspective in terms of, you know, how I see women, the things I hear them say about their interactions with men and that sort of thing. So, you know, I would never go out and say, you know, I have the consciousness to make somebody else change. For somebody has to want to change in order to change, and that's a personal thing for them. I can only highlight certain things, and then based on where people are in life, they take it and do whatever they want with it. I think, you know, the other piece about, you know, the African women and that sort of thing, you know, we really have to deconstruct, you know, colonialism. We have to deconstruct imperialism, slavery, all of these things. And it's not even just, you know, an African thing. If we look at, you know, in India, and we look at the caste system in India, and it's almost anywhere that was infected by Britain has this shade, color, body image issues where the lighter you are, the more valued you think you are in society, and all of these things. So in order to get to the root of those things, we have to begin deconstructing our entire history of how we ended up in this part of the world in the first place, you know, being having these kind of ideas forced upon us, and now we're still trying to unravel them, you know, years later.
Okay. All right. Tom, let's take another call before we go back to the poetry, because I will be here for this morning. So,
Caller, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Kwesi, really and truly fantastic. I'm listening to spoken words and the poetry in the word, and it's so powerful when you understand that you can get so much message, so much direction and encouragement and even guidance from the spoken word. So I want to compliment the gentleman, and I will try to pass it in with Port Square and feel the vibes and be part of it. And I think though, if I may just enter this into the discussion, I know for a fact that the Ministry of Diversity, and I want to compliment the Minister, in respect to putting on a program called The Journey, which will take place on Sunday the 18th at the waterfront. The Minister of Diversity, Mr. Dakota, Minister, I want to compliment you. I'm thinking, because this is about the journey of the Africans from Africa, the passage slavery to emancipation to now, and letting people never forget the pain and the hardship that the Africans went through. But I'm not sure if on the program, spoken word is part of the program. I think this will be an important element to add into the program. So I must speak to my good friend, the producer, which is Davlin Thomas, to finally the spoken word is part of it, and probably should be included on the 18th of this month at the waterfront at 4 o'clock when this program starts down there. And I think it will be a fantastic thing for all Port County, now thousands, to be there at the waterfront to experience what it was like to see the African person being used, seen as cargo, being seen as merchandise, being put on the auction block. And that whole reenactment from that point of view, and also the celebration of emancipation, the celebration in terms of the success of the African community coming out of that, I think the spoken word will be an excellent part of that program. So I'm hoping that it become a reality. Once more to compliment the Minister, the Ministry of Diversity, for such a fantastic occasion to look at the journey, to look at the hardship, but to ensure that such a thing must never occur in modern history. Kwesi, I thank you.
Right, thanks very much. So let's get back to you know, the spoken word.
Yeah, I like what I call it chukina one day, but the viewers know, the listeners know that this is Cascadoo Spoken Word Festival, Nales Monday to Wednesday workshops, Ultra Square Thursday, Pandemonium on Thursday night, and we're normally under the trees on Friday, right? So.
And normally under the trees is $50. Yeah,
yes, $50.
Yeah,
that's all free.
Yeah.
Open to the public. So don't forget callers.
All right. So where do we start again?
All right, I'll go again. But I think before even doing the poem, just to let the people know, if you're out there, you're listening, you're enjoying what we're doing and what we're presenting, you should know that we all just came straight from the airport. We haven't slept. We haven't eaten yet. So this is what you get when we're sleep deprived. So if you come during the week to the Cascadoo Festival, you're gonna get this on a whole next kind of level when we're fully rested and we have some food in our body. So
well said. But I and Tima had that discussion after yesterday. I said, Tima, you sure these people gonna be ready for me Sunday morning? You know, he said they're coming in 5 o'clock. I said, Tima, 5 o'clock. We on at 9 in Tima. You know, I don't make joke. So, but no, but you know, I'm thankful, and I'm glad you raised that point, because up to yesterday afternoon, I'm going to that with Mtima, because Mtima know I don't make joke with my things. I said, Mtima, 9 o'clock, you know, he said, we're coming straight from the airport. Go on, we're coming straight. So thanks for being here. Really,
we're grateful for the opportunity.
We're grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, okay.
This is a blessing.
Okay.
So the last caller mentioned a journey, so that made me decide to do this next poem. On your mark, get set, and so it begins. On the dark continent of enlightenment, the place from where all history comes, are people who were so ahead of their time they were sending text messages when they only had drums. Out of the starting blocks, we are off to an early lead as world travelers and explorers, sharing our philosophies, creating universities and structures that would make the world stop and wonder before passing the baton on to the relay's next runner in the Caribbean Sea, who lost a bit of ground through the Middle Passage and slavery, but nobody said that the race would be easy. So for over 400 years they continued to run, limping through the pain, knowing that cramps will come and it's going to hurt sometimes, but you've got to focus and keep going through the plantations, the lynchings, and the hate, even when the spectators in the stands call you other than your name, because it is not what we are called, but what we answer to that is important. Victory is an uphill climb, and we've got to continue to rise like Lazarus, knowing that even the slightest of steps can mean so much. Sister Rosa Parks sat down to stand up, so I can't give up as I try to make sense of this baton that's been placed in my hand, while I struggle to be accepted as a man in this world that seems more concerned with whether or not I'm endowed down south, and I'm all about being endowed in the places where it counts, in my family and my community, because knowledge of self is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, you cannot reap a harvest. Victory will come to those who choose to run the hardest, and it really doesn't matter if you know the secret, because not everyone will believe enough of themselves to do something with the information. No one was made to be a spectator in life. We are all the active participants in the race to fulfill our destiny. So when the baton comes, take it and run, because failure isn't a crime, but aiming too low is. Because if you reach for the top of a tree, you might never get off the ground. But if you shoot for the stars, you might at the very least get to the top of that tree. And I might not get to the finish line with you, but I will continue to strive to carve out my own space before passing this baton on to a new generation of runner, confident in victory, because success, it runs in my race.
Love that one. And you know, before you go to Eddie, Anthony, this piece here that Dwayne did falls right into what you're doing here, because part of their visit here is a continuum, because we look at the organizer exchange. So hopefully we're looking at as soon as next year to take a team from Trinidad and Tobago and go to Canada. So we pass on our baton, right? And because we want to invite the young persons, especially, to come out and take part in this workshop, because that will help bring that help us to know who we passing the baton on to, because that's important. So I love this piece right there.
Okay.
Day-o, day-o, daylight come and me one go home. I've been working that graveyard shift and I can't hardly stand no more. Looks like it's about to break it down, so I guess it's time to go. And I gotta get to the grocery store, so I got mouths to feed and supplies are running low. But first I gotta get to the bank, see if I can increase my rank, cause I need my lights and heat, but they about to cut off my hydro and gas. Rent's due too. My kid needs a filling in his tooth, and you know I gotta pay for that. And a whole lot of other bills I owe, like cable, phone. I was thinking of checking for an emergency loan. Maybe get a second job. Either that or get myself cloned. I've been trying to get something to pay more, but every time I seem to get my foot in the door and get to an interview, I never get hired, no matter how well I think I do, how much qualification experience I show. So one day I asked what's going on. They told me if I don't like it, I could just go home. 24 hours in which to earn a living wage. And there's no lack of manpower, just a concentration of power. Loss of laws for equal pay means less women power, even though they doing the hardest labor. And all around the globe, many are enslaved, and some are even slave traders. Kids in despair in sweatshops when they should be in the care of educators. And for every bite of a banana and purchase of a brand name bandana, I am a collaborator, a consumer of big oil and big sugar, from Ghana to Guyana, Delhi to Manila. But I heard a fella say that Massa Day done, that they have you on the run, that the time soon come when we can let freedom reign. And it must have slipped back like Reconstruction, cuz many are still living in de facto debt bondage, struggling to get by on single income, ER, minimum wage, working something part-time and no future, make no use of their skills and brains. They want a chance to just ease up, pull out of the rat race. They tired of looking around, working like a dog, see they's water for days, going 2 steps forward for every one backwards they take. Nah, they just want some time to ease up, hang with friends, break bread with familiar face. Man, everybody looking for a place that we could call home. The right bunch of bananas might look and smell and taste real beautiful, and I might be entertaining and have a gift that's lyrical or musical, and you could call me a classic, though I'm not normally considered classical. But underneath it all, underneath this laid-back exterior, there's a tarantula who when cornered could be deadly, and there's no inoculation for this venom, cause it's foreign plus tricky, more like a Nancy than Peter Parker, came out of the cross and even stronger, a born survivor who could work all night on a drink of coffee, Red Bull. I ain't got no money for rum, I ain't got no rage and wazes, so I gotta make payments, so I gotta lift and tote till morning come, and some end up in the street and they call them bums, but they ain't gonna beg for crumbs, they gonna collect can in the alley. So come, Mr. Tallyman Tally, count out your migrant schemes, the domestic visas for immigrant workers that can only afford craft dinner but still recall the taste of platanos and cassava pone, save up to send barrels home to take care of their own, and run through countless calling cards to touch base by telephone, and the wonder deep down in their soul, even though they've staked their claim in this soul, they ask, could this ever be home? They like, come man, me want go home.
Alright, so how you gonna phone to look out here? You're hearing something different. Alright, so let's get back to the original one. Eddy.
Okay, this one's actually for Haiti. This is a disaster, and there's nothing natural about it. And if it is, there are those out there on the sidelines with an agenda waiting to exploit the people and their circumstances. And all over the world, or is it just in third world countries, it seems to be happening with a frequency. And some say that are those that are fighting for control of the remote to dial the frequency strategically. And in other news, local doctor saves thousands of lives with the help of his community. But that's not news to be reported on CNN. See, look who's posting videos on YouTube, Twittering, and tagging all their Facebook friends. American reporters, ex-presidents' daughters, and Hollywood superstars. And don't forget to add me. And even though it seems exploited and pathetic, just remember that the image we're going for here is helping and sympathetic. You saved a life today. Let's get that on camera. You took a life today. That's just unfortunate that you had to be caught on camera. Administering non-sanctioned pharmaceutical tryouts. And I wonder if this is the primary crime scene or just one of many in this series for these killers without borders. But just remember, we are the world. We are the children. Everybody now. We are the ones that call the Quincy Jones and Lionel Richie saying that we can remake our world just by auto-tuning it. Sample Michael. Maybe this tragedy will sound better. Make a great movie script. How about a documentary on World Beat? A world beaten into submission by the World Bank, banking on the turmoil and the underdevelopment. These pirates have patches over the public eye, and yes, they're rub-eyed, and they continue to do it. No pictures on the wall, hell, no walls for pictures, because they huffed and puffed and harped the houses down. That left all among the rubbles with empty milk cartons with pictures of missing third world children. They have been abducted. They've been abducted. They've been adopted. by well-meaning Angelina Jolie's, Madonna's, and other star figures. See, they all can't be Josephine Baker. Labeled your children orphans and separated them from their parents, like lamb led to the slaughter. Kind of gives new meaning to do you know where your children are? Hopefully not being raped and butchered, because a tin man needs a donor and he's willing to pay to avoid the paperwork and the delay. Even the wizard knows that the dead is being sold for parts. But tell me, what exactly do you get for the person that has everything but no heart? But I don't mean to alarm you, because this could just be the janitor trying to clean up, but there's a black man in the office. And supposedly now the world is safer, but I think that's a distraction. Broken families everywhere, not enough food, not enough water, not enough medical care, and getting fat would be a luxury for little girls that hope to grow up, sing, and end this nightmare. Could somebody translate what they're saying? Because I thought they spoke French over there, but obviously they weren't colonized properly the first time. But as you can see, with this new disaster, it totally makes room for second chances.
Yeah, man. You know, and it's important, you know, that listening faculty, not just the hearing faculty, but the listening faculty is really, really, really important, you know. So, again, you know, people pay attention. Who goes next?
I'll go. No problem.
Yeah, let's go. Keep it.
Yeah, leave that song for Monday and for next
If you do everything right now, you're going to be sure.
It will make sense.
But let the shortest I went to talk radio, so you finish just now.
Better than you let us know.
Yeah.
You want more?
Yeah.
You can get more of Cascadoo.
Of course.
Monday to Wednesday, Nalis workshops, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Monday afternoon, you're the arcade in Allison, Abercrombie Street, from 2 to 5. Thursday, Woodford Square, 3 to 5. Thursday again, Pandemonium, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And when we close off, Normandy under the trees.
Okay.
Big up to Normandy.
I hope everybody listening had a pen and writing down this stuff, right? You know,
They can look for us on Facebook too. Just type in Cascadoo.
Yeah.
You know you don't like Facebook, but I didn't anything now.
Kwesi, when you mentioned listening, though, that's a very important factor, and I think like it's an important quality of all of what we're doing too. In that the workshops also would involve dialogue. You know?
Yeah.
So you're hearing people's work too, and you're hearing what they have to say. And you know, we look forward to a lot of that too, of interacting with spoken word artists and people who are interested in spoken word in Trinidad. You know, of all different age ranges. Yeah, there's a focus on youth too, but it's for everybody, right? So we look forward to that, and we're learning a lot too.
You come and take a little thing there?
Yeah,
of course.
Come and see a red poem.
There's open mics and that too, so we're looking forward to hearing some of that.
Yeah, you come and see a red letter poem.
All right. Let's just take some callers here before we run out of time, because you know, as they say, the shortest hour in talk radio. Hello, good morning. Somebody.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Kwesi, forgive me for calling back, but Kwesi, I'm blown away. I'm definitely will be taking part in and getting part in this.
You're coming in the square?
Fantastic.
You're coming in the square?
I hear some serious good artists down here also,
Yeah.
but I'm really impressed with the standard in the caliber. And Kwesi, could you grant me a favor? Could you have the gentleman who, because the producer just called me, told me he's booked for Sunday the 18th, once he's still in Trinidad, the gentleman who did the thing right after I spoke in terms of the journey,
Yeah.
he is absolutely booked. And can he come in my program today at 2 o'clock? You can give him the information. I don't want to advertise another program on your thing. If you can come to today, I'll also push their Cascadoo program for the week, and also to speak about Sunday the 18th. And he will be one of the cast members on that fantastic production. So, Casey, is it possible?
But I did not ask him. I had to ask him after, and I asked Mtima first and all of that. But we look at it. Don't worry. We look at it as.
But brothers, you all are fantastic, and I want you to push it further. And listen, man, this is fantastic. I love it. I enjoy it. And I thank you very much. And you all have a good day and all success to your program.
All right. Thank you. Hello. Good morning.
Damn, brother Kwesi, sorry for calling back.
You call back. Go ahead.
Come on, and all when he's singing, just like these fellas in the studio. The majority of his music just has some poetry in it. He's one of my favorite rap stars.
Okay.
Just like what them fellas will be, how they do the poetry and the singing and then. I think so. I'm enjoying it. You're drinking the tea right now. So.
All right.
You can bring some tea for me.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's CDs on sale
Will there be CDs on sale?
Yes, we have some of. I have books and CDs, and I know that both Eddy and Nth Digri have CDs as well that will be available.
Okay.
Oh, only at the poetry reading?
Well, I think they would have it at all the
every
occasion. They will be there for every occasion at Nales and at the Pandemonium in Woodford Square and up at Normandy.
Okay, this is very interesting. Remind me of the time that I spent on Fulton Street going to those theaters listening to this type of poetry. Very educational.
All right. Thank you very much, man.
You're welcome.
Can somebody skip us? Yeah, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Kwesi Atiba.
Speaking.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
You know this voice. This is Bilal Abdullah Mustafa Ibrahim.
Yeah, long time no here. Yeah.
I
You're
know
already
what's
control.
going on in the world. and listening and remembering what Elijah Muhammad told me when I sat with him for the 10 years that I spent in his church in New York. Wallace was a baby. Farrakhan was a very small boy. All right. Those gentlemen that just read those poetry, where are they from?
Well, they live in Canada. They live in Canada. They have Caribbean. They have Caribbean roots, but they live in Canada. Yeah.
Right. What I want to ask both of them: do they know the living condition in this country? I listen to both of the poetry because I don't miss your program at all. And I'm yet to reach here you are on Queen Street and for us to have a debate face to face.
Okay.
You know me, I don't cut corners.
Okay.
And I ain't afraid nobody from the Pope back down. I would like them to tell me what good those two poems they just recite will do for a mother living in Laventille, John, that has 4 children, for 3 different fathers, and she have one in her belly. For a man that she thought would have stayed with her, but as the belly started to show 3, 4, 5 months, he bought it. And what good would that do? A young boy who had to stand in front of a magistrate in the morning for having a weapon, a firearm. When he figures if he use the firearm, he will get out of the ghetto and be somebody. Right. Answer me, please. I will listen to you. I will hang up.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I will venture to answer that. People can only do what they can do. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given each human being a level of skills, and if they use those skills well, then they will benefit from it. And if people see what they are doing and it's positive, they can learn from it and do it too. But every individual has to make that choice about his life or her life. The boy can't make it do nothing. You know, he can put out the words. The priest could put out the words, the imam could put out the words, whoever it is, can say what they have to say, but at the end of the day, you have to pick it up and run with it like the baton. You know, you could put on the baton and you're not run with it, you know. You could just drop it. Yeah, too heavy, and I done with that, and I go on the corner and do whatever I have to do. You know what I mean? And try to do something else. You know, so the individual has to understand that he or she has to make the change. You know, as Allah says in the Quran, it doesn't change the condition of a people until they change what is with themselves. And we have to learn that in all the struggles that we have to do. And as we always say, the shortest hour in talk radio, Mtima only watching the clock. Mtima can't hold back the time in the film. This is the shortest hour in talk radio. Ask Tom, Storm said that. Storm said that. So, in Trinidad, they had this expression, 1 for the road. So we might have to look for a 1 for the road or a 2 for the road or whatever. So who wants
I would just add in there that when I would hear a poem, like I remember listening to Lillian Allen, who I really like as a dub poet, you know, and she's in Toronto there. And, you know, at the time I wasn't really doing a lot of poetry, and my problems might have been not that severe compared to other people. But when I heard her poetry, it gave me a lot of joy and a lot of strength and inspired me. So, you know, that's what something I heard artistically did for me. I think everybody's been touched by some art. It's that sometimes the effect is not anything that might seem to be to save you, you know, but it might, who knows what it can do for somebody. It might bring them a little joy, it might give them an idea, it might just, you know, it's hard to say what kind of effect that's going to have. But speaking for myself, I know that, you know, I've heard some good material out there that's inspired me, whether it's a book I read or a song I hear. So, you know, sometimes I just give you a little inspiration and courage. But that's
what you could do.
Yeah.
That's what you could do. All right, one for the road. Who want to do one for the road?
I have plenty of things to do.
The original one, I have plenty of things to do.
It's appropriate for radio.
I want to do it. Where is the true brother?
Okay.
Nice.
Where is the true brother? Is he the one who goes into a jam, gun in his hand, finger poised on the trigger? No, that's the real. Every day there are brothers keep dying, the media keeps lying, and we keep buying into the lies that they feed us. Their lies lead us, deceive us, then leave us without a clue of where we're headed or what next we should do. Where is the true brother? Is he the one who calls our women whores? Her beauty he ignores. The true brother knows that our sisters came first. They gave this world birth, yet many neglect her true worth and treat her like dirt. Where is the true brother? Is he the one who whispers in your ear, letting you know that you're his, when he really has 6 young kids in 6 different women's cribs, on the street corner hustling with his little dime bag, nowhere to be found when his kids cry for dad? Now let me ask you something. Why is it that so many of our women have baby fathers when they really need husbands? Now ladies, I'm not saying that you can't make it on your own, but any strong community first starts with a strong home. The true brother knows this already. He nods with approval while others' heads get heavy. Now ladies, you've got to be wise. Beware of he who feeds you lies. Where is the true brother? Our women cry. You need to look around the room and one's right before your eyes. Well, you're hearing me now, but when you come out this week, I'll be right before your eyes.
All right, good pitch. Good pitch. Okay, so we starting to get into shutdown mood. So, Mtima, could you repeat the issues that we have? The NALIS.
Okay, we have NALIS Monday to Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. There are workshops, and the workshops are conducted by V.O.C.A.L team. The V.O.C.A.L team, we also have Chris Ringo, Freetown Collective, Rachel Collimer, Joan Gail Johnson, and yours truly, Mtima Solwazi. Monday afternoon, you're in the arcade that's in front of NALIS in Abercrombie Street from 2 to 5. Thursday, we're in Woodford Square, 3 to 5 p.m. And then we head straight to Pandemonium Panchayat in Belmont from 7 to 10 p.m. And we close off Normandy Under the Trees, Friday night, 7 to 10 at a gate cost of only $50.
Okay.
Right? Again, you want to pick up Normandy Hotel, big sponsors.
Yeah. We call all the sponsors.
Normandy Hotel, NALIS, National Highways, the Polskin Corporation, Pandemonium, right? And
you call a Canadian.
Yeah, the
Canada Council for the Arts.
For the Arts, and the Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism. And this is brought to you by the Oral Tradition Roots Foundation, the Trinidad and Tobago Poet Society, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Poetic Vibes.
Okay. All right. So as we are about to shut down, I had to do some reminders to the people. Section 34. I know these brothers here ain't gonna know what I mean, but Trini know what we're talking about. Section 34. New flying squad, fire truck, drugs. And now we're getting into something about postponement of local government elections. They're piling it up. You know, every day is a new story. Well, we will see where that goes. People actually debating, putting off for the local government elections, and some people talking about local government councillors. That don't exist. The thing crash. It's over. Everybody is an individual citizen going about their business. Don't think you're a councillor for nothing. So anyway, we want to remind you that for some information on Islam, you should visit the Islamic Resource Center, the headquarters of the Islamic Resource Society, number 24 Queen Street in Port of Spain. I want to thank all my guests here this morning for being here without food, without sleep. You know?
I want to give them the money here for persons who...
If you want, yeah.
479-4510. 479-4510.
Okay. So that's the contact, Mtima. Right? So, as I say, thanks very much for being here this morning. I mean, it is lovely. And
on a hungry belly.
On a hungry belly. and Tom, as usual, at the time, Tom is one of the best we have, So, thanks very much again, Tom. So, people of Trinidad and Tobago, peace be upon you.
From the time of Adam, God had taught man through his prophets to live by the truth and to search for the truth. To know that their Lord God was one, far above all else in his majesty. He had no need of partners.